So one of the questions I get the most is, Amy, what are the best suburbs to the greater Phoenix area? It's a great question, and having lived here for over 30 years, I definitely have an opinion about this question. So stick around for this whole video. We are going to talk about some of the top suburbs to consider if you are planning a move to the greater Phoenix area. Before we get started, here is my information. Make sure you reach out to me if you are thinking about moving to the greater Phoenix area. My name is Amy, my partner Joon, who is my fiance. We've been realtors in the greater Phoenix area for over 20 years combined. I have lived all across the valley. I know what it's like to work, sleep, eat, play, shop in all of these different areas, and I would just love to connect with you and help you find the perfect spot when you are moving to the greater Phoenix area. Now, let's go ahead and get started. All right, I'm going to get started with a few of the most obvious suburbs that people think about when they are moving to the Phoenix area. These are the ones that seem to be the most popular, so we're going to go ahead and talk about those first and get them out of the way. And then at the end of the video, there might be a couple of surprising suburbs that you have not thought about, so stick around for those. But let's get going. First of all, I'm going to combine two cities together. Let's talk about the cities of Chandler and Gilbert. Those are both in the East Valley. I call Chandler my home personally and have for many years. Here's why people love moving to Chandler and Gilbert. One of the reasons is the location. You have some pretty good access to freeway systems that just gets you to all of kind of the hot spots. There's just a lot going on in the East Valley. That's where you're going to find school districts that are the highest ranking. You're going to find some really great neighborhoods. There are newer neighborhoods in Chandler and Gilbert compared to some of the neighborhoods in the West Valley. It's very family oriented. So if you are a family moving here and you have kids, a lot of people really gravitate towards Chandler and Gilbert. Again, that's where the school districts are the highest ranking. You're going to find a lot of activities. Both Chandler and Gilbert have really cute downtown areas. Chandler in particular, all of the stores in downtown Chandler are mom and pop stores, no chain restaurants. Also a huge hub for live music. Downtown Chandler, downtown Gilbert. If you go down there on a weekend, you cannot miss all of the live music. There's country music, there's pop music. If you like dancing, it's a great place to go for that. But it doesn't get super crazy in either of those spots. It's not a wild and crazy community here in Chandler and Gilbert. Like I said, very family friendly. So it's just a real fun place to go. They'll have festivals, they'll have farmers markets. Another great thing about both Chandler and Gilbert is the shopping. There's just plenty of cute little shopping plazas. We have Chandler Fashion Square in Chandler. Up in Gilbert, we have the Santan Marketplace. Both lots of great options. All of the stores you're gonna wanna hit are gonna be in one of those places. Costco, both places. So Chandler and Gilbert, great suburb of Phoenix, very family friendly. A lot of people who are moving here really gravitate towards those two. Again, family friendly. I think the neighborhoods are super cute. They're newer, it's safe. So keep that in mind if you're moving to the greater Phoenix area. And let's move on to the next one. All right, and let's talk about another amazing, beautiful suburb of the Phoenix area that everyone thinks about, and that is Scottsdale. Now, when you talk about Scottsdale, I think the imagery that comes to mind is kind of a high lifestyle, right? Is it like that in real life? Yes and no. There are different parts of Scottsdale, and it has changed quite dramatically over the past 30 years since I've lived here. But yes, you are gonna find some amazing resorts. If you are looking for a fantastic resort getaway, you can find some of the best in the country right in Scottsdale. Golfing, yes, if you are an avid golfer, some beautiful courses to be played in Scottsdale, and some really great high-end shopping if that is your thing. And we also have some of the biggest events that bring in tourists every year. Two that come to mind in particular are the Barrett-Jackson car auction. It's an amazing event for car lovers, or even if you're not. It is so fun to walk through and see the vendors, see the amazing cars. A great time. Another one is the Phoenix Open. Really exciting golf tournament that we have every year usually makes the news for some sort of crazy thing that happens every year at the Phoenix Open. It's kind of, I think it's called like the biggest party. What is it? The biggest party on the green? Something, the biggest party something happens at the Phoenix Open every year in Phoenix. A lot of fun. So yeah, the different parts of Scottsdale. Okay, so North Scottsdale is different than South Scottsdale. On the south side, you're gonna have some older neighborhoods. You're gonna find more condos, townhouses, and a lot of those have been turned into an Airbnb. So if you're thinking about moving to that area, it's just something to keep in mind. You might have Airbnbs in your neighborhood, or maybe you are one of those people who want to invest and have an Airbnb of your own. That can be a great place to consider for that, because so many tourists want to come and stay there and be able to get to the Scottsdale Fashion Square, and especially Old Town Scottsdale has some of my favorite restaurants. Such good food. My favorite Thai place is there. They have the Herb Box, which is just this, it's kind of a cute little restaurant with a patio, and they just serve very fresh foods, healthy foods. There's also some wonderful art galleries in Old Town Scottsdale. So it can be really fun to go down there for dinner or lunch, and then afterwards you just take a stroll, look through the art galleries, and it can be a really fun time. And then in North Scottsdale, it's a little bit of a different feel. You're gonna find more residential areas, less of the townhomes and the condos that you find in the south part of Scottsdale. And you're gonna find some neighborhoods where the homes are larger, bigger lots, and also more expensive. So that's the thing about Scottsdale, is the price tags can get pretty hefty, but it can be a great location if you can afford it. You're gonna have great freeway access. The 101 is gonna be right there. So you can hop on that and you can kind of go up to the west side. You can go down, further south if you want to get someplace that's not Scottsdale. But hey, why would you want to leave Scottsdale? Schools. Also, I would say there's a lot of great charter schools and private schools in particular in the area. So if you have kids, public schools are good, but you also are going to have that option of the charter and private schools. Next on the list is one that might surprise you. Have you heard of Anthem? Now, Anthem is a master plan community that was developed by Del Webb in 1998, and it has kind of 3 neighborhood divisions. Each one has their own HOA. A couple great things about Anthem. One thing on the list is that it is right on the I-17 that takes people into Phoenix. So you have that great freeway access to get into Phoenix, but the same freeway also can take you up north. So if you are someone who likes the idea of being able to get away to Flagstaff and Sedona up in higher elevations, it's just gonna be a little bit of a quicker drive if you live in Anthem. We're talking about an hour and a half to get to Flagstaff, and once you get there, you can enjoy the snow and the skiing. So you really can kind of get the best of both worlds living in Anthem. You have all of the great things being close to Phoenix, but you're also really not too far away from Flagstaff and Sedona, places that are just beautiful. If you haven't had a chance to get there, next time you come to Arizona, make a drive up to those places. You'll just be amazed at how diverse the landscape can be here in Arizona. It's not just all desert. There's just a wide variety. And if you live in Anthem, you really get a chance to enjoy that a little bit easier. Another thing I really love about Anthem is how close it is to Taiwan Semiconductor, which is just being built. It is a $12 billion thing going in North Phoenix. They make semiconductor chips. I think that's what they're called. So these are high-tech jobs going in there in North Phoenix. So we are gonna see some great new employment there. And surely that area, because of that, is just gonna continue to develop and grow. So that's a real positive. If you have a family, you also really can enjoy some great schools. There's lots of activities there for the kids and for adults alike. Parks, clubs, activities, sports. So you really can have that active lifestyle in Anthem as well. Now, if we're talking about the west side of the greater Phoenix area, I have to mention the city of Buckeye. If there is one city in the west side that I see the most often coming up in the news as being kind of a hotspot for growth and new business coming in, it seems like Buckeye is always in the news. It's always on the top of the list for development. It really is one of the fastest growing cities in the country, and one of my favorite master planned communities is right there in Buckeye. It is called Verrado, and if you can imagine just this small town kind of feel with beautiful views of the White Tank Mountains and a really walkable, cute downtown area, that's kind of what you get when you're talking about Verrado, which is in the city of Buckeye. So if you are going to be working on that side of the valley, you definitely want to keep that area in mind. Prices out there are actually pretty affordable because it is kind of so far out away from Phoenix, yet you can find some great deals on housing out there and still have just a really cute community that you can live in. And you also have that added bonus of knowing that there are companies coming in, there are high-paying jobs coming in, it's continuing to grow, so you can kind of expect a good return on your investment there in the Buckeye area. All right, so next on the list, I really debated about putting this one on the list or not, but I decided to go ahead. It is the town of Paradise Valley. It's probably going to be out of your price range, folks. These are pretty high-end properties for the most part, but it is beautiful. I used to live in Scottsdale, and my church was actually in Paradise Valley, so a lot of my friends also lived in that area, and I got very familiar with that whole community. I have to say, the first time when I moved to Arizona, I moved through Paradise Valley, and I kind of had this reputation. When you think about Paradise, at least in my mind, at that time, I thought green, lush, trees, paradise. It's not like that. It's not. It's very much more desert landscaping. You have Camelback Mountain, which is a wonderful place for hiking. It has some really difficult trails. If you're a hiker, you're probably going to want to try it out. But a lot of the properties are on Camelback Mountain or around in the foothills. And so you have some properties that just have really amazing views and bigger lots. So that's amazing. Now, some of these amazingly large homes on big lots have aged over time. So I think that's kind of the flip side. If you are considering Paradise Valleys, you might be looking at remodeling a large home, which can be very costly, or tearing down a home and just starting from scratch. Or you might take the option of just buying a piece of land and building from scratch. I know some wonderful builders. If that's something that you're thinking about, make sure you reach out and I can kind of get you connected with them. But yeah, Paradise Valley, also the schools. They have some great schools all the way from elementary up through high school. They have Phoenix Country Day School right there, which is an amazing school, great reputation, and tuition based. So you're also going to have to pay a hefty sum for tuition to go to Phoenix Country Day School. But that's what you get when you are thinking about moving to Paradise Valley. The cost of living there is going to be higher, but you are going to get potentially some great views and a wonderful, safe community. And I will throw in there too, it's a great place for networking. Really, if you are in a profession where networking really helps build your business, not that you want to create friendships for that. There's a lot of nice people that I've met that I've been lifelong friends with. But I'm just saying, all that to say, you can meet some very intelligent people with great businesses. And if that's kind of what drives you is building and growing a business and networking, and you're really a people person, it might be something for you to consider moving to Paradise Valley. All right, this list is getting a little bit long because there are just so many suburbs that I want you to be aware of. So I have two more that I'm thinking of. We'll see if I think of any other ones by the end of this video. But next, I want to direct your attention to Ahwatukee. That's spelled A No, it's not. It's spelled A-H-W-A-T-U-K-E-E. Tricky. Now, Ahwatukee is really more of a nickname. It is a Phoenix address, but Ahwatukee sits right south of South Mountain, and so it really kind of makes its own little triangle shape bordered by South Mountain, the I-10 freeway, and then there is a new freeway on the south side of it, and on the other side of that is the Gila River Indian Reservation. Ahwatukee, it used to have more of a reputation of high-end living and private because it's kind of tucked away, but then they built in the freeway and extended it, and there are some mountains and foothills all through there, so it makes for a scenic drive on the freeway, and I haven't seen the traffic get very congested on that freeway at all. And then in Ahwatukee itself, again, you're going to be having a lot of properties that are in foothills, so you can have a property that backs to a mountain or a hill, and it can just be so beautiful and private. So those are a couple of great things about Ahwatukee. Also, the hiking. The hiking on South Mountain is kind of the most convenient for a lot of people who live in the greater Phoenix area, kind of that general area. A lot of times if you want to go hiking, you're going to be, driving out further away, but South Mountain is a little bit more central, and they have lots of trails on there. So if you're a hiker from Ahwatukee, you're going to be able to get to a lot of different trails and have some variety in that. Or who knows, maybe you get lucky and you get a house where, you can walk down the street or walk out your backyard and get to a hiking trail. The schools there also very good. I believe most of Ahwatukee is in the Chandler Unified School District. I actually homeschooled my kids, and my two boys played high school baseball in Ahwatukee. They tried out, made the team, and they played baseball in Ahwatukee. It was a great experience. I'll say that the community in Ahwatukee, it feels pretty tight knit. Again, because it's kind of tucked away and it has almost its own, I don't want to say its own culture, but it's kind of like its own thing. If you live in Ahwatukee, you just have your own kind of shopping areas. You're all part of the foothills, and it's just different. It's unique. So Ahwatukee, definitely one to keep on the radar. If you are working in that area, you're going to have great access to the freeway, which can get you to the main airport, Phoenix International Airport, and a lot of different parts in the valley. So a great suburb to consider is Ahwatukee. Okay, and I think this is gonna be the last one on my list. This is the city of Maricopa, Arizona. Now, Phoenix is in the county of Maricopa, but if you drive about 30 minutes south of Chandler, you will come to the city of Maricopa. And to get there along that 30-minute drive, you're driving through that Gila River Indian Reservation, so not a bad drive. Visually, it's pretty. However, the road getting out there is 2-lane freeway, basically both ways, and there can be a lot of traffic on that. So that's the downside, but they are widening it, so I'm hoping that traffic gets better. But still, a great suburb of Phoenix, and this one is further out than most, but I wanted to mention it. And really the main reason I'd say I want to mention it is because it is so affordable compared to a lot of other areas, and it's because of the distance out there. But they have, I would say it's a fairly new city as far as the growth. A lot of Maricopa has been built fairly recently, and they are continuing to build. Right now, you can go down there and you can get a brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in the 300s, good builders. So if that's something that you're interested in, you want a new house or, a newer house, and you're on a limited budget, Maricopa might be a good option to consider. As far as what it feels like to me, it kind of feels like a small town feel because it's kind of set off by itself and it doesn't have as many things going on, festivals, or, it doesn't have like a big mall or something like that. But unlike a small city, it has a lot of shopping for you. You're gonna find any of the main shopping stores, shopping centers and plazas that you want. You're gonna have Target. You're gonna have wide variety of grocery stores. There's plenty of doctors, vets, clinics, things like that. that out there for you. Restaurants, lots of fast food restaurants. When you drive into Maricopa, you're gonna pass every fast food restaurant on your list that you want. Every time I drive to Maricopa, I'm like, oh my gosh, they have so many fast food restaurants here on this strip. But they're almost all newer and it's not run down, so it has kind of that young vibe. There is a rec center there called Copper Sky, and it's amazing. I was amazed when I went there to visit a few months ago. There's just, first of all, it was just very active. There was a lot of families bringing their kids for, soccer, swimming, karate, all of those types of things. They had pickleball courts, they had a huge pool, with a water slide. So that was great. And yeah, so one other thing about Maricopa that I really like is that it has quite a few homes with an RV garage. So in my mind, I'm thinking if you are someone that likes to drive your RV down here and stay for the winter and enjoy our winter weather here, that might be a great place to consider, because you could get a house with the RV garage at a reasonable price in a great community, and park your RV right there at your house. It's really not that bad of a drive into town. And actually, when you're driving from Maricopa into Phoenix, you can stop by the Phoenix Premium Outlets. And this is kind of a fun outdoor shopping area where you walk from store to store. So that's maybe 25 minutes from Maricopa, 25 minutes. So yeah, lots of good things about living in Maricopa. And I think that does it for my list of the top suburbs of the Phoenix area for you to consider. And make sure, if that is you thinking about moving to Phoenix, that you reach out to me, send me a text, give me a call, shoot me an email. I want to make sure that we can connect, because it is the only way I'm going to be able to help you find your next home right here in sunny Arizona. And I hope to hear from you soon.